You feel its edges in your mind before they even reach your fingers. There's a tremor inside it. Dare you open it? Too late. You already have. Welcome to HauntedMTL's Combobox with J.M. Brannick. Hi, welcome to the Combobox. I am your host, J.M. Brannick. Joined with me today is every 12-year-old's hero and special guest, Dr. Payne. Do you want to say hello? You don't want to say hello? Who cares?
I'm sorry, Annabelle came over.
Who cares?
It was Annabelle and I. I thought this was Bloody Mary's podcast where I need to fill in 15 minutes of silence. I'm so sorry. This is Combobox where we actually talk back and forth. My bad. I got the wrong format. Okay, here we go. Hi, everybody. It's me, Dr. Payne. Of course, you can tell by my awesome yelling in the microphone voice because, hell, we didn't have podcasts back then when I started this. Beer. I'm just going to, for you to know, box, since you always edit my sponsorship, I'm going to edit myself every time I say rut beer. You know what I'm drinking.
Rut beer.
Rut beer. It's awesome.
All right. Well, today I've summoned him to talk about something that I'm actually a dirty casual with, but...
Is it internet connection? Because yours sound like shit.
I know. Fuck.
Are the Proud Boys doing one on your internet connection? You know, you scare a Proud Boy. I was gonna say, be a woman, be gay, be black, be not married to your sister, have more than one brain cell. I think that's how you scare a Proud Boy.
I think there's a lot that they're...
Be not having your dick in a gun or one up your ass. I have listened to this podcast. I think you're on something about putting guns up people's asses. I believe that's their gimmick. And they got upset and they took it out on people. It's all your fault.
I don't think it's all my fault. I think it's really Jim's fault. So.
I think that we need more faults like that. Guns up people's asses. It's my Second Amendment right. If I want to have sex with a gun, I should be able to do it.
I think it's my Second Amendment right to be able to put my gun anywhere, including up someone's ass if they're a jerk. Pushing ahead, just like the wrestlers do. I'm a dirty casual with this, but I have a lot of respect and would like to say that I'm an enthusiast of the wonderful world of WWE style wrestling.
WWE style versus like what? What else?
Well, I don't want to say
WCW,
wrestling.
ECW, the other W's, Glow.
I don't want to say wrestling and people think that I mean like Greco-Roman wrestling or something like that.
Two naked men's squaring off in the middle of the ring.
Which again, I'm an enthusiast for that too, sure. Today we're talking about WWE style wrestling.
But not just WWE, just so we know. It's not just one federation. It is wrestling professionally in general. How about we just say professional wrestling because the amateur shit don't pay.
One thing, that wrestling, especially like in WWE and ECW, one thing that wrestling does do well is to incorporate...
Give me small cocks for the steroids. Whoops. Sorry.
Is to put horror in the ring. So...
Yeah, they put a lot of horrors in the ring. You're right. All the deep... Oh, wait, you said horror, huh?
Horror.
Oh my God, this is a horror... Oh, fuck me.
Of course. What else?
I thought you said horrors and wrestling.
Yeah, horror.
You sold me on horrors and wrestling. I was like, okay, we've got Another Day in Sunny Sunshine Land. I won't name any names. We got what's the other horror in wrestling?
I'm like, let's talk about horror and wrestling. And you're like, oh, I love it.
Yeah, because I love horrors and wrestling.
Yeah.
These are not the like.
Right.
But now I understand it's like horror.
Yeah, horror.
Ah, shit. You need to say like scary wrestling.
Why would I do that when I mean horror?
Oh, damn it. None of my list is going to make sense now. Hold on, let me get a new list.
Yeah, get a Sharpie. Yeah. So from Blood and Gore...
El Presidente, can I borrow that Sharpie?
To the Cerebral, there are different styles that they incorporated. So in this podcast, we're going to be talking about, what I thought was 6 wrestlers. I don't know
I got some bonus for you. I always bring the pain.
What I asked for was 6 wrestlers that spooked us, haunted the ring, or brought kind of the macabre to the forefront. So, but before that, though, I want to move back to old traditions, and I want to ask, what type of food or combo did you have today?
Oh, beautiful. Thank you very much for asking me, Brannick.
You're welcome.
The combination I have today is I got some monk blend tea and some beer. I'm doing a little bit of tea and beer today. That's my combination.
Tea and beer.
Tea and beer. Yeah.
Fair enough.
What are you doing? What's your combo box?
You should probably put in some solid foods in there sometimes. I had a delicious
delicious.
Yeah.
I love those. A delicious queef. You had a delicious queef. Great, thanks.
It wasn't quite a queef. It was more of a fart that turned into, so
fart that turns into a queef. I don't know if does that work that way. I don't know.
If there's other people involved, I don't know what exactly it's called.
Who's got their mouth open? That's all I know.
So it was. I had some delicious mustacholi.
That does sound good. It does sound good. I don't know what kind of combo box. It always sounds like a Taco Bell combo box type thing.
I know. I was going to get actually something like that, but our plans completely and drastically changed today. And now I'm drinking wine for dinner. Kids don't drink wine for dinner.
Actually, kids, wine for dinner got Doc through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Take bottles of wine, much as you can, just don't pass out because it ain't fun that way.
Okay, look at Doc. You don't want to live that life.
Hey, just because I can almost walk uphill without crying does not mean my life is bad.
You don't want to live like, listen to us. We have a shitty internet connection.
You.
So, all right. So since you're the guest, would you like to start us off?
No, I will go first, and thank you very much for your generosity. Mm-hmm. You are the favorite person I have to do a podcast with, and I'll say this out right now. I'm getting so many compliments from our podcast and all my fan base, mostly about me, but they're like, that Brannick, they're not horrible. And that's honestly the best compliment anyone's ever got.
Yeah, that's probably the best compliment my parents ever gave me, too.
Hats off to you.
All right.
Now, my first spooky, gore-phobic, worst ever, I'm actually doing, this is like, what, top 3, so maybe not the worst ever, is none only then, Abdullah the Butcher.
Yeah, this is old school.
This is old school, and he's from Canada. So you know if he's escapes Canada, he's got to be hardcore. Because no one else escapes Canada.
Is he a Mountie?
I'm pretty sure you could almost Mountie him. He's 6 foot tall and 360 pounds. They say he's from weird places, but he's actually just from Ontario. You know, wrestling's all this big thing, and like, oh, I'm from this horrible place. I'm an Arabian sadist. I'm a this. Nah, he's just from fucking Ontario. He's basically the tragically hip of wrestling. But this guy made a name for himself as a heel. For those who do not know, heels are the bad guys, faces are the good guys, and you got tweeners who are kind of like fucking nothing.
You have twinks, and you have bears. Oh, wait.
That's, well, probably there too. Probably. So this guy is known for taking it to Andre the Giant. Who the hell takes it to Andre the Giant? Andre the Giant didn't want to fall for you. He ain't gonna fucking fall. He was Andre the Giant.
He doesn't sell.
Hulk Hogan and a whole slew of everyone in Canada. NWA, Canada, Stampede Wrestling, and even the Sheik. Not to be confused with the other Sheik, by the way.
Probably literally everybody in Canada he wrestled at some point. Like everybody, like child.
There's not that many people. I think he was eating people at one point. But he's known for taking forks into the ring and bloodying people's faces up.
Jesus.
Okay? When you get cut by, everyone kind of cuts and juices, whatever else, and slices, whatever you want to call it, we get it. Mm-hmm. Blood happens, right? He made blood happen to the part where it was, let me see, the biggest match, I remember him taking a blade out and chopping people's heads with the blade, was Bruiser Brody. I was so much blood. I believe the guy needed a transfusion after the match.
Jeez.
Just saying. Now,
wrestling is kind of real.
yeah, it's so bad that in a shoot interview, superstar Billy Graham actually wanted him to be taken out of the Hall of Fame because Abdul was abducted. He's like, there's no fucking way we should have this asshole in here. And he's like, whatever. I don't care. Abdul is just honestly probably a nice guy who had to like really make money in the ring. That's what you do. So you go bloody.
So you bring in forks.
Yeah, he ran forks. And not just on his opponents. He wasn't just like an asshole doing an opponent, but he did it to his own head. Allegedly, Mick Foley has said the divots in his head and Abdullah the Butcher's head is so deep, you could actually put casino chips inside of them and have them stand up. That's how much he gave to the sport. Without a doubt, you have to trust someone as a wrestler. You always have to trust the other person. And you can trust Abdullah Butcher do one thing, and that's to fuck you up. So without a doubt, horrific for both wrestlers and people like blood all over. A+. 10 out of 10 Cthulhu's.
Okay. Sounds
got really
good.
quiet, huh?
Yeah. Well, I was enthralled by the story of the Butcher. Because again, that's old school. I'm a casual. I dip in, dip out. And I'm gonna say, what about Raven? Raven. I'm gonna bring out the Raven card.
For Christ's sakes, that Nirvana. Okay, whatever.
AKA Scott Levy. I kind of like Raven, and I was actually pretty late to the game of watching Raven. I saw him in the late, like mid 2000s when he came back to the WWE with Shopping Cart, and
Right. Black Friday.
And I really liked him because I think Spouse really hated him. So I really liked him. So he's a heel, and he's a really good talker. He gets his name from basically Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. And when he was coming out, his promos were all very like philosophical, edgelord type kind of stuff. Kind of like what Alistair Black's edgy beat poetry promos were. Of
Leaping Lanny Powerful. Yeah. Very edgy, the poet.
Very grungy. Back in ECW, before me, he formed a group of lackeys called the Raven's Nest, etc., etc. He began using mind games towards the Sandman, and like that was the big rival, was the Sandman. And that was when he got into a lot of trouble in 1996, when he and Stevie Richards were involved in like this huge, super controversial match where he crucified the Sandman, and they put a crown of thorns on his head and had the Sandman's kid come up on to the ring and like kind of like make fun of him, like do the crucifixion pose too. And Kurt Angle was like at that match and was like so furious. He was like screaming in the back, like allegedly screaming in the back.
No, the ratings are too high. I can never top this.
No, he was like, no, you better not have my name associated to this. I'm gonna sue you all. Like
Billy Star Graham, that's superstar Billy Graham move right there. Kurt Angle.
He was not happy. So
he wasn't happy. Sandman's fucking crucified. What do you think he's doing?
But allegedly, according to a YouTube video that I watched, he was the one who actually made the whole crucifix like thing. Like he was the one who actually legitimately made the cross for himself to be crucified on. So he was in on it. It's not like it was like
no, it's not like they're just fucking the guy up and really crucifying him.
He was
kind
in
of
on
Jesus was in on it too, but you know, Sandman was a little bit more.
Everybody was in giving high fives except for Kurt Angle. So that was like his whole thing was like the cerebral kind of like dark edgy kind of thing. And then in 2000, yeah,
an incel.
Yeah,
your first one's an incel. Awesome.
Right. And then in 2000, he returned to the WWE as the Raven I knew, which was basically him with a shopping cart. And he would come into the ring with a shopping cart full of shit to use during the match. And it was such a bizarre, like, I don't know why, but I love his
indie move.
But it's
not in a bad way. When I say indie, it's not bagging on indie people. That's just an indie move.
It's fun. It's like, right. It's very like engaging to the fans, because then like it's like, oh, what is he gonna do? And again,
it's Carrot Top.
And to give credit where credit is due, the person behind him is actually really super smart. He's in Mensa. And so my favorite thing about him, my absolute favorite thing about him is his fucking song. Because it was so fun and so great. Because it's like this heavy guitar, like, and then it's like, caw, 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 caw.
What was his intro song? I don't remember.
It was great. I would scream it every time it would come on. It was everything for like emo me at the time.
Yeah, I mean, God, are you sure that was his W?
That was his WWE.
Not the WCW one.
No, that was his WWE one.
I don't remember. I'll take your word. It's like some edgelord stuff.
Oh, it was so good. It was just like terrible and mysterious, and then it's got the birds, the ravens cawing in the back, like caw caw caw.
Okay, because it used to be "Come As You Are" by Nirvana.
Okay, no.
Okay, that's all I was wondering. Like, we can't be talking the same one then.
No. This one was, when they go to the WWE, they always give them like that weird
non-suable song.
Yeah, or they have a band come and do it. And this was like the era when they had the bands come and do them, and they were like really good. Lita's song was really good.
Sandman had Motorhead doing Enter Sandman. That was tight. Triple X had Motorhead doing The Game.
Oh yeah, and that's like his thing. But the best thing that I remembered when I watched it was that he murdered somebody live.
Real.
Yes, there was a character that Perry Saturn was very, very close to, and it was his love interest, and he would be with this person like every time like he was in the ring and whatnot. And there was this one time he was looking for this person, and Raven tied her up, and she was like screaming, and he put duct tape over her mouth and then threw her in a wood chipper. This is, of course, beloved Moppy.
Oh, okay, like before 2020, otherwise it'd be a real person in a wood chipper.
Well, I mean, she was real to the fans, and she was real to Perry Saturn. So that was sad to see Moppy go into, well, first she didn't really go into the wood shredder, and then she did go into the wood shredder. But that was a sad moment. So anyway, yeah, it was a mop.
I'm pretty glad that wasn't actualized then. I don't know how, splinters are one thing, man. I don't know. That's some pretty deep splintering.
Two adults, I'm not gonna, two consenting things. I'm not gonna.
Two centering thing, no. Here, I know you're a casual. You're a casual. So I'm gonna try to explain this to you. Perry Saturn actually stopped the woman from getting raped. And he kind of got banged up for it, but he, honest to God, stopped someone from being raped. He's an ex-Army Ranger, and he doesn't, who actually takes that shit from anyone? Hopefully no one.
He's a hero.
Nothing but love for Perry Saturn.
Yes, he's a hero. And it was sad what Raven did to Moppy. So the finisher of Raven was the Raven effect, which was...
Wasn't it even flow?
It was.
Because it was too obvious from grunge. Got it.
But yeah, so that is Raven. So what about Raven? That is Raven. I think he's still kind of active. He's a podcaster. He's still pretty active in the world.
Is he still doing poetry? Is this podcast just poetry? Please tell me it is.
I wish.
Fucking edgelord poetry by Raven.
Oh my God. I would
and the flock.
I would fucking listen to that so hard. Anyway.
I would listen to that hard too, but probably for different reasons.
All right. What is your second one?
My second one is very little known. Well, maybe I'm being unfair to him. But way back in the day, we used to do these independent circuit leagues, and this guy was from New Dimension Wrestling. I think that was NDW. And he ran by the name of Scourge. He came out to what's that? Not the Jack Daniels song. It's the Devil Went Down to Georgia. Who did that? Charlie Daniels. He came out, the Devil Went Down to Georgia. His backstory was the devil raped his mother, and he was it was like the spawn of Satan. I do not know if this was a fact. I don't know if it was just huge makeup or if he's just a genetic freak. His skin, I remember being almost translucent. Like you can not only can see the veins and stuff under his skin, it's like whiter than white. But there's parts you kind of can see where the muscle and the sinew that is. It was disturbing as hell. And I'm pretty sure it couldn't be makeup because it'll rub off in the ring.
Right.
He had got his eyes, I'm pretty sure, were contacts, so there's like these glowing little yellow like eyes. But he would run around in the independent leagues. I don't think he ever made it to WCW or anything like that, but who cares about that?
Who cares?
Who cares? There's a lot of great wrestlers who just don't make it big league.
Yeah.
And not because, and some just don't want to, because, WWE is the fucking assholes. Oh, sorry.
Allegedly.
No, they're assholes. No alleged about that one.
Yeah.
Allegedly, they steal a bunch of shit from people and ruin everyone's lives, and most of the wrestlers live until like 20 before they all die of something, but whatever. Allegedly, sure.
And they have to go back into the ring because they have,
But Scourge was a hardcore, and he didn't make a damn dime, I think. Barbed wire matches, it didn't matter. He would bring in things like a chair, like chair shots. We used to do chair shots wrapped in barbed wire. That's how fucked up it was. And Scourge would take everything. He turned it up a little bit to 11 with his shit. So we have this guy who looks like the devil, hairless, by the way, not even on his noodle, no hair in his head at all. Translucent skin, creeps you out. Country western hip music. Sorry, Charlie Daniels, but ever since you kind of came out of the closet for being a racist, yeah, you're kind of dead to me. Still like your songs, though. Anyhow, the thing about him was he made Abdul the Butcher look like a pussy. And that is almost impossible to do. And he wasn't as big as Abdul the Butcher. The guy was kind of lean, mean, fighting machine. Scourge, we're listening. It means you still got ears. So I don't know if the fuck you're still in this podcast still, but I hope you're still alive, buddy. There was one time I do remember that Scourge ended a match by a table power bomb, meaning there's a table and he power bombs the guy through the table. But the table, get this. First of all, it's off the ladder. I should probably put that out there. It wasn't just a regular power bomb. He was up high. The table, barbed wire, on fire with thumbtacks all over, just to fucking case the barbed wire didn't get you. That was what he would do. Insano land. Who do you got for number 2?
Was this like in, I'm gonna guess, the late 90s?
Probably. I don't know. I've been kicked around in the head for a couple of years, so I don't know.
Because that's kind of like when, because
it was extreme. It was more extreme than ECW because a lot of the indie leagues needed to kind of like outshow other people, and we had ECW going on around the same time. Brutal assholes there. Brutal bastards. So was WCW. WWE at the time was kind of still pussy leagues.
And you kind of had to one-upmanship everybody else to get noticed.
Yeah. Oh, to this day, I honest to God don't know how the fuck you got his skin that way. You look. Oh my God! You ever see that one movie?
Powder.
Thank you, Powder. Eraser. It looked like Powder with muscles.
That's weird. Okay, so my number 2.
Is it me?
It's not.
The doctor is. Can I pick myself anyways? Can I put myself in this list?
No. Damn, you're not scary.
Well.
You're just annoying. All right, so my number 2 is he's a newcomer.
Flush.
Number
2, get it?
I get it.
Bet you do.
He's a new person, but he's not a new person. He is the Fiend from Bray Wyatt. So he's a little bit new to the scene. And so I don't know too much about the like voodoo cults Bayou Bray Wyatt, but when he came on the scene as the Fiend, I ate up every Firefly Funhouse. Like when it first came up, because it would come up as like these like little snippets of like these weird like prequel show things, these promos of like a buzzard puppet and like, you know, Sister Abigail like puppet, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And it would like cut through the broadcast of WWE, and then of course the, you know, announcers would be like, what was that? And then it started being a full-time like kind of Firefly Funhouse, this kids show with Bray Wyatt and him introducing the Fiend. And this actually took place for a really long time. It took a couple months, I think, for it to fully develop. And the setup was just incredible. The payoff, it's kind of mixed for me, especially when he fought Goldberg. But I fucking hate Goldberg. But anyway, I wrote about the Fiend leading up to WrestleMania for the website. If you guys want to go check it out at HauntedMTL. His mask was created by Tom Savini's studios. It's incredible. Like he's got
Tom who? Who's that?
Oh, he's done like Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah, Dawn
Didn't
of the
we
Dead.
do that as a review? Dawn of the Dead.
Not yet, but we have to, my friend. Dawn of the Dead is a great.
So he's done the prosthetics for that one. Cool. All right.
Yes, lots of undead dongs, and he did them allegedly.
Double tap to the head.
So, like, this mask is a serious mask, and honestly, he catapulted to like number one in the merchandising because of everything. This lead up, the mask is terrifying. It's just, he is really good with horror. The best parts I think that I have was when he actually made his ringside debut, which was leading up to it. We always see kind of little hints of the Fiend through, of course, the Firefly Funhouse. Well, we get Finn Balor coming out, and Finn Balor's, you know, big crowd favorite. He's up there and he's got his music and he's showboating around, and it cuts off and all the lights go off, and then you hear the Fiend laughing. The lights come back on, and the Fiend has like destroyed Finn Balor, and you're like, what the fuck? And everybody's going crazy because, again, it's just he's an intimidating presence. And then lights go off.
He sounds like the Fiend with a big dong. I'll be intimidated. Lights go off. I got a dong of the dead in my face. Oh my god, it's like Tinder match all over.
My bottom line is Bray needs to make a movie or a TV series or something like that, because he has so much creativity and drive, because you can see that this was like a lot of his mind and a lot of setting up, and there are Easter eggs in it, and he puts a lot of time and thought and effort and energy into his characters. And the Fiend, I think, is like the top notch of what he's doing. I think the Fiend is really inspirational when it comes to horror in the WWE. And my favorite moment, again, was the Finn Balor, because that's when we realized that the stakes are real. And let's see, I got his finisher. Well, see, his finisher is supposed to be Sister Abigail, which is a swing reverse STO, which I wrote down as STD, which is funny.
Well, with a Dawn of the Dead, it might be an STD.
It might be a swing and reverse STD. But what he's been using is the mandible claw, which honestly just works better with his character. Music-wise, honestly, I'm kind of disappointed with his music, because music to me is like a big thing with every wrestler, and his is just kind of like a mishmash of like, you know, like guitars and stuff like that.
That's Mentos. He just did the theme song to Mentos.
Yeah, his theme song is Mentos. I don't think it fits. No. The music, like I said, it could have been better. Okay, so we're going to go to a short commercial break from a sponsor of the past.
Like Rubber Root Beer?
Like Rubber Root Beer. And then when we come back, we are going to continue our list.
You know that extra something that you taste in Pearl Draft Beer, you know what it is? It's freshness. It's a fresh flavor that you don't get in any other beer. because Pearl's naturally perfect brewing water lets all that good flavor come through. And man, oh man, that Pearl beer flavor, well, sir, it's real flavor. Clean and natural. You know, when you combine the best grains that money can buy, plus brewing water that's a doggone good is priceless, you wind up with one of the truly fine beers in the whole wide world. Pearl Draft. You know, that's the same draft that you've probably had at a good tavern or maybe over at the Pearl Brewery. Only now, neighbors, you can get it in a ring pool can or also in the reclosable quarts. Now, if you haven't tried Pearl Draft, do yourself a favor and pick up a real good supply real soon, huh? And I guarantee you one thing. Once you try it, you're going to stay with it because, as I say, if you found the better taste of the spring country beer, you're with Pearl.
And we are back. Thank you, sponsor of the past.
That's awesome. I want to buy 5 of them today. And God, I hope it's something awesome for me to buy. Yeah. I have 6 at my house right now.
Of course you do. Who wouldn't? All right. So the next one is your turn.
Is going to be the one, the only, and if you were anywhere in the Southwest independent circuits, you knew this one. The Diva Cup. The Diva Cup was actually a tag team. They're absolutely, well, it's 2 women, by the way. It was 2 women wrestlers. This is when Glow was taking off. This is when WCW had their whatever. WWE had their, I think, Divas, or one had the Divas, I'm not even sure. And ECW probably has some extreme people killing each other. Who knows? But in the 90s, late 90s again, which is when I was active, the Diva Cup was this tag team of Missy Diva and Jennifer Cup. Get it? Diva Cup. Ha ha ha. Anyways, they would come out to Lita Ford's version of Only Women Bleed.
Nice.
Yeah. But as a guy, it was very weird to see this much feminine power. They were basically these feminine wrestlers, almost maybe feminist wrestlers or wrestlers, if you would.
God forbid.
And their finishing move was toxic shock syndrome. Okay,
so that's kind of funny.
It's basically one would get on Diva, like they would, the person's out of it. So Diva would pick the woman up or the man. They did some mixed gender wrestling back then, and put her on her shoulders, or put them on their shoulders. And the other one, Cup, would go up on the turnbuckle. And it was kind of like this really swinging DDT flying wise. They did a DDT backwards though, because she did a small spin in the air. She was a spinner. And it was amazing to see. It was like acrobat perfection. Now, just like Abdul the Butcher, most of their matches got really bloody. Okay? We're talking cutting. We're talking about just regular pain. Not me, not Dr. Pain, but regular pain. And it was almost the women taking it upon themselves to have gushing all over. Matter of fact, the very last match they had, this was a true injury in the ring. This is why it was the last match they had. They were tag team champions. They were going against, I can't remember who the hell they went against, honestly. If anyone knows, call in. We have phone calls, right? I just figured no one's calling in because no one's listening. This is not live. Okay. So we had this tag team. I can't remember who it was. They were going against this tag team, but they're the champions. And Diva had this chair shot set up, complete setup, where it's supposed to have been like this flying headbutt into a chair shot. And it's supposed to be nice and plastic chairs, but it wasn't a plastic chair. Diva didn't take it on the shoulder. They took it completely on the head. And kind of like almost, I'm not laughing because they dented the fucking head in, but it looked like Abdul the Butcher was in the ring with them. Blood gushing all over, instant concussion. And to top it off, after the chair shot was supposed to have been the chair shot, the other one was supposed to come down with toxic shock. They're going to set up the toxic shock syndrome. But before they did that, it was going to be a baseball bat with barbed wire. So you had the chair shot, bam, completely knocked Diva out. At the same time, Cup is then flying through the air with his fucking baseball bat, and Diva's unconscious, so she can't get out of the way, and tears up the legs of Diva. So blood all over, and we'll just say kind of like the Exorcist is. Blood, guts, everywhere. Okay, it was horrific. And it's one of those times where not even a Diva Cup could hold that much blood. And thusly, that was her last tag team match ever. They had to retire. But I did catch up with a little bit of their story later on. Full recovery besides the brain injury, By the way, chair shots, they're real. You don't fake a shot to the fucking head with a chair. Sorry.
Yeah, it goes right at your head.
Yeah. You can cut a table, pre-cut a table, but you still fall through the table, it still hurts. You just don't this is tickling. No, it's like shit's still on you. Everyone's got a little brain damage, but they're still doing something in wrestling. Last time I heard, Diva Cup was in these conventions. They're doing some signing and stuff like that. I don't know how much money they're making, but at least they're still alive, which I can, above and beyond most people either on this list or in wrestling in general.
Pretty crazy.
So Diva Cup, if you're listening, well, God love you.
Okay, so my last one, I had to give it up for, he's kind of like the biggest one in WWE. It's not like he's my favorite, but he's like super, super, super like big and important. He's debuted in 1987 and was in the WWE in 1990. And
87, 90. Undertaker.
Yeah.
I was thinking Kane or Taker, so it's gotta be Taker. Okay. Paul Bearer, holy Christ.
Yeah. We have to talk about him because he has such a history in wrestling and in the sport and in its continuation. He went from Supernatural to bikers to like corporate ministry. There's just so much in there. So very just expressive and charismatic without even having to say a word. He is, he's very tall for one. So there's this whole huge history. So I wrote down some of the things. He's like a huge, he was in casket matches. He was buried alive at some point with this Mankind rivalry back in the day. He was always coming with his manager, Paul Bearer. But Bearer betrayed him for Mankind. And then there was this crazy storyline of how he had this deep dark secret, and the deep dark secret was that he burned down the funeral home of his parents, and his half brother survived, but his half brother was institutionalized as a child, I guess, but was burned terribly.
With a good movie career, by the way. Kane's actually pretty decent in film.
Good for Kane.
There you go.
So then Kane wanted his revenge because that was his half brother, and at one point he set Kane's arm on fire in a match. And then that's when started the Ministry of Darkness, when it was like all robes and like magical shit. It's so crazy. It's so crazy, his career. Just reading it, because I only knew him from like the early 2000s, and I know that he teleports. I think lightning is involved sometimes. I know he wanted to take over WWE, and that's what led to the corporate ministry. That's the phenoms trudge through history.
The tombstone pile driver, back when big men didn't need a damn finisher at all.
And I love his finisher. I love when he walks the tightrope he walks the top rope like a tightrope.
Like a tight circus performer. Oh, I like where this is going. Keep going, Box. I want to hear more about this tight circus performer.
He's like a moody, tight circus performer.
A moody, tight circus.
And then he grabs you by the throat, and then he picks you up, and your little feet are kicking. And if you're AJ Styles, then your little hair's swishing around, and it looks gorgeous.
Swishy swish.
Swishing around, and it probably smells beautiful. And then he fucking throws you into that goddamn mat, and you're dead. You're just dead. And then he puts your arms across like you're dead, like in a thing over your chest, and then he sticks out his tongue and rolls his eyes back and teleports sometimes.
Teleporting is actually something that we used to do too. It's all like stage magician stuff. Lights off, you run your ass down, or someone looks like you at the beginning, and you run to the ring. It's got a trap door, and you pop back out. Ah, spooky! It's a good buy-in for the industry. Usually smoke machine. Oh, sorry, he actually teleports in your mind.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my bad. Sorry to break character, and hey, man, it's all good.
Mark Calloway can teleport, allegedly.
Allegedly.
I would say if people can, if you have the WWE network, or if you can get your hands on it for like, there's a free trial. I'm not promoting it in any way, but if you do, there are a couple like Undertaker stories, like when he talks about like some of his adventures, and they're super entertaining. And I highly suggest you go listen to them, because he's a very good storyteller, because he is so even, but he's telling about these insane stories, and he's just so quiet and soft-spoken, and it's just very enjoyable. But he has so much history, and he's like one of the old school and new school people all wrapped up into one. But my favorite song, because he's had many songs going through, my favorite song, I'm going to have to say, is the Corporate Ministry song, which is amazing.
The one that no one else knows in the world.
You guys should go check it out, because it's great.
Corporate Ministry song. Oh my God. That's your favorite song of all these.
Yes, because it has the Ministry's like song backup of like just this gothic, cathedraly, dark, beautiful organ-y music. I know that you like organ-y music. And then it has Vince McMahon's No Chance playing in it too. And so it's just this beautiful mix of both of them.
Did you just call him Vincent McMahon?
I said Vince McMahon.
They said, I will go back to the tape. I'm pretty sure he said Vincent.
Vincent K. McMahon, the 12th, allegedly.
12th? Oh, man. I think you're alleging that one, yeah.
So that is my third pick.
I will see your horrific Undertaker, and I will give you a couple bonuses, okay? You might know some of these, maybe you're not. There are different horrors in wrestling, okay? These are scary because their character is scary, but wrestling itself is pretty fucking scary, period. I'm not going to bring in anything from certain wrestlers I may have been friendly with, whose demise were really premature. But let's go into Ric Flair, the nature boy, Ric Flair. Scary as hell. Not because he's Ric Flair, he's a nature boy, he's got the 21 championships, 25, whatever it is today. But he's still wrestling because he's been married 4 times, I guess, and he needs to keep wrestling. Folks, manage your fucking money. Don't marry. Marriage is scary. That's me. Marriage is horror for me, okay? If you're doing all the work, you should keep some of your fucking money. That's number one.
I don't know where you're going with this.
You don't know where I'm going with this?
No.
How? It's horror. Think about this. Ric Flair basically invented a huge amount of posturing. He's invented being great on the mic. He's invented the 4 Horsemen with Arn Anderson, really. He's invented the prototypical, I'm not going to do a stick, but he was bigger than life. And if you still have to crank out wrestling appearances because you need money, or allegedly need money, or allegedly need to keep working, that's horrific how wrestling treats people. Jake Roberts, how wrestling treats people. Again, now, so I know you're kind of like, where are we going with this type thing? I'm going to give you one last one. You kind of mentioned him, Mick Foley. Mick Foley, and I think Brother Love is probably the scariest. Nope, take that back. Whatever the hell Sacco was, that's the scariest thing ever. Basically, it's this masturbation sock that comes in a ring and gets shoved in people's mouth. Maybe that's like, it'll be scary as hell if I take this jizz-stained sock and shove it into people's mouths. Now, spoiler alert, the Rock'em Sock'em. Sorry, Rock and Sock connection. Get it? When he was tag teaming with The Rock, that sock may have gotten a little too DNA. I'm just going to give a slight spoiler for all your wrestling fans out there, some behind the scenes stuff. It was the same sock in every match, allegedly, and allegedly may have had a little too much DNA, and allegedly may have become something you know and maybe love or hate, allegedly Donald Trump. It fucking
allegedly.
fits, doesn't it? Allegedly Donald Trump. It fits, doesn't it?
Allegedly.
Only a cum-soaked old sweat sock with The Rock and Mick Foley's semen with probably Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of mixing in there.
Okay, let's
make any of these choices that Trump's making. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
allegedly.
let's continue on. What's your other ones?
That's it.
Okay.
That's
right.
not scary enough. A cum-stained sock that came to life and ran for president. It's Pinocchio.
Don't want to imagine this.
Don't have to imagine. It's a 2020 timeline. It's your reality.
So anyway, that's all that I have. Is there
Fox is like, anyways, that's all getting cut out.
Basically. So is there anything that you would like to plug?
Oh, there are some things I like to plug. Trust me on this
Within
one.
reason.
I do want to plug something, and it is the doctor is in. Special guest, J.M. Brannick.
That's me.
As we take on all the internet trolls, and because I mentioned The Rock, all the jabronis out there who want to tear down people because they think they look different or think they don't have this perfect whatever.
We will be the people's champion.
We are going to be the people's champion. I'm going to take my sweat sock, put it in the laundry because that's where sweat socks go. What do you want to plug besides beer? Whoops, I meant rah, beer.
That's going to be cut. I would like to plug the doctor is in the podcast that you still haven't cut yet. The one where we talk about the porn series.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I need to edit that one. I was putting some, finishing touches on the porn. It was just too hot. That podcast is just too hot for me to edit all the way through. I can only do it 5-minute bits, and then I get tired, and then I have to go back to it later on. It's a sexy podcast. Where else can you get PG-13 porn besides like Nickelodeon?
I think it's more like PG because we were we did slip up with fuck a lot.
You slipped up with fuck.
I
never said fuck in my life.
That's true. You've never said fuck in your life. All right. So that's all from me. I think that's all from Dr. Payne. We will see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening.
Bye.